we also just finished watching Divorced in the Black.
And, I blame Nova for everything I want to say today.
A little late for this review, but we thought it would be fun to watch because BGTV doesn't watch as many of these movies as I do.
Well, let's talk about what kind of movie it is. A Tyler Perry movie. Okay.
Right, exactly. And the more serious Tyler Perry gets with his movies, the funnier they get to me. So if you don't know what Divorce in the Black is, we're going to give a recap. What did you think you would get out of this movie? Like, considering it is a Tyler Perry movie.
How could I say? Bad acting, terrible script, somebody that has been essayed in some way, shape, or form, and a lot of religion. I guess real quick on like Tyler Perry movies, like I don't watch a lot because my wife forces me, used to make me go watch Madea movies, and there's some of them are funny. I'm not gonna lie, the Madea parts are funny, but the everything else sucks. Oh my God! The first Madea movie I saw was funny, but then the rest of them I started to hate after a while because I just
it's very formulaic. It's
yes,
like you know what you're gonna get. Yeah.
Yeah. So I started.
And there's a crowd for it, but very predictable.
Except for those little tropes that I named, I didn't know where the movie was actually going to go. You know, I didn't even know who was in it. And then, surprise to see Megan Good's old beautiful self in there.
There's more serious things, like even with some of the Madea stuff, like he never fails with the cast. There's always like people who are well known, like for the most part, as a cast. And I guess what a lot of people criticize with Tyler Perry, which I have to agree, is like, I know he wants to do everything in-house, but sometimes you can allow other people, like you can hire other people to do certain jobs, right? One of which is writing. I've seen somebody, give the criticism like, hey, there's a lot of young Black women that they put on wigs really well. Why would you not employ some of them? There's some who make wigs. Like, why aren't you doing that? Why are you putting these raggedy ass wigs on people?
I feel like Tyler Perry is so cheap that he's putting the wigs on people.
So he's been doing these more serious types of movies, which I think are hilarious. This one in particular was about a young woman named Ava, who's played by Megan Good, who's married to Dallas, who's played by Corey Hardwick, I think that's how you pronounce his name, who, for anyone who doesn't know, is the ex-husband of Tia Mowry. Dallas comes from a family of degenerates, if you will, like a product of their environment type of thing. Moms is wild, and that's shown in the
like
first...
black trailer trash.
Right, exactly. And that's shown in the first scene. So Dallas's brother passes away. Apparently he was trying to rob somebody. He passes away. Ava, who's Megan Good, played by Megan Good, Ava's father is a pastor. And so he's giving the service for the brother's funeral.
So it starts out like any normal service, the preachers talking and they start singing and stuff. And then the pastor starts getting into his like little sermon, and he just starts talking about how the dude's going to hell and how he was a terrible person. And I'm sitting there like, what's going on? This ain't the time to do this. Like, okay, I get it. Like, you learn throughout the movie, like these people aren't nice people, right? They rob, they steal, they cheat. Like that, most people don't like them in town. But like, if you're doing a funeral, that's not the time to bring up these grievances. You do the service for the family, tell them how he's back in God's embrace, and then keep it pushing, right? And so he's going in, and so then the mom of the son gets up and starts cussing him, and then he starts cussing Dallas's wife for no reason, and then preacher and her's going back and forth. So then all of a sudden she just like starts stripping her clothes off. I'm like, oh Lord, I don't want to see this. You know what I'm saying? And everybody's like, don't you do this in God's house?
Just to interject really quickly, one of the things was that felt like, or maybe they were treated like they were looked at as beneath Megan Good's family, Ava's family. And she's like, I don't need these hand-me-downs. Y'all not better than us just because y'all pay for this.
Yeah.
And so that's why she starts to strip her clothes off. And you think that's over the top, but I mean, I guess everybody's
It could have been worse.
It could have been worse, right? But Tyler Perry said, not only can it be worse, it will be worse. so mom decides, you know what? We getting up out of here. And so she tells her sons, Dallas's brothers, yeah, get your brother. So they're like, cool, they're going to get their brother, right? Everybody grabs a casket and walks out. She goes, no.
take him
out.
Casket. Even these big bad brothers, and they look at her like, what?
Oh my God.
Like the one with the braids is like, huh? What you mean? Take the whole dead body with our raw hands? You're like, yes, take him out. Which is illegal, by the way. You can't do that.
You can't do that. They take him out. She's half naked. They take him out of the casket. They go to the truck and they're going back to the family's property. Ava is stuck at church, and her best friend is like basically trying to tell her they shouldn't have done that. You know, like what were they doing? Yeah. And she's like, look, this ain't the time or the place. They're obviously emotional. She leaves to go catch up with him. So she goes to the family's house. He's in the car, and he basically tells her to get the fuck on. I ain't got nothing to say to you, really. I guess, what was it? That he was mad that she didn't defend him or something like that? Mm-hmm. It seems like there's been a long-standing issue with maybe their family being looked down upon, possibly because they were poorer, don't have the greatest reputation in the town.
Well, let's also speak on one thing. First off, you're not supposed to take dead bodies, like that. You're not supposed to bury them on your land with a backhoe. Remember that? It was the wrong actual, I'm just saying backhoe for y'all, but it was the wrong type of machine. But still, they like dug a grave with a hole. They like when you get there, there's this piece of construction equipment there, like right where the body was buried. I'm like, that don't look like it's a deep grave. You know what I'm saying? Like some raccoons or something's gonna dig him up. Like, what you doing? Or a coyote or something.
It don't even look like it was deep enough. They're supposedly burying him.
Why is everyone so fucking stupid?
He's in the car. He tells her to get up out of there.
Which was the most overacting ever.
And so then she leaves. And then she goes to, I guess, like the family or the place that they frequent, like a bar that she knew that they were going to be at. Which is wild because they were all just chilling outside the house not too long ago. But somehow they were all there. Yeah. And already had a whole pool game.
In this movie, they teleport a lot. A lot of teleporting.
They're in the bar. And he tells her to get out of there because he's upset at her for
get a finger point.
Right, you get another finger point, and then she walks out and runs into someone who she dated briefly. Named Benji.
Which is funny because one of my dogs is named Benji. It was weird.
They're catching up for a quick second, but it's long enough for Dallas and his brothers to walk outside and see them together. And apparently at one point back in the day, Dallas and his brothers jumped Benji.
Yeah. I thought that was the way they talked about it. And I know people do this, but the way they talked about it sounded to me like they had like recently whooped him up.
They kind of have an altercation. The owner of the bar comes on and is like, all right, y'all gotta get up out of here. We're not gonna be doing none of that outside this bar. Dallas wants to drive. His brother yokes him up because Ava's trying to take the keys.
One time one of the brothers did something right. No, you can't drive. Right. I'm driving. He decked him a couple of times. Yeah. Get your ass a car.
You listening to me. You're not driving. Give her the keys. So then she drives him home. She ends up going to bed, and then she wakes up to him in the bathroom just sitting there.
Which they're implying that, he might have been like,
throwing up or something. Like he says something like while he's drunk about how unalive his dad, right?
Which this is a moment that in a normal movie that they're trying to humanize this guy, right? They're trying to show you, okay, he's a piece of crap, but here's why he's a piece of crap, right?
Right, character development, if you will.
It failed, but still, I saw what he was doing.
Well, it failed because in like a lot of these movies, what I find, and I even see this with like Tubi movies. Like I love Tubi movies, and I applaud people who have a lower budget and are just like, we're gonna do what it do. But the problem that I find is when they're trying to develop characters, they focus too much on trying to humanize them. Typically, like a good villain is someone that, although they do a lot of bad stuff, you almost sympathize or empathize with them because of like that's why the Joker. That's why so many people like identify with the Joker, right? Because you have that sort of nuance, I guess.
I think the problem with a lot of these stories is they tell you and not show you. So he's sitting there like, hey, come on, girl, we got to go to this dinner now. The dinner ain't for like another 2 hours. Just give me a second. We ain't got to be there for like another couple hours. I'll make it on time. So coming downstairs, he gone.
Yep.
Which is wild. Anyway, she shows up. He's already drinking before she gets there, acting a fool in this like nice restaurant, which his little best friend is not saying much, and then he like insults this man's wife. Me and that dude would have been throwing hands if that had happened. Ava comes and sits down. He starts acting a fool again. And it's like, nah, just leave it. It's all right. Dude's like, I want a divorce. And I'm like, what? Where did that come from?
There's one thing about Dallas in this movie is everything that could be said from person to person, he likes to do in public. Mm-hmm. He loves to do these like huge displays of frustration. That conversation could have been done elsewhere. But no. He had
to make a public spectacle of it.
He ended up leaving, right? And then she was kind of left by herself with her friends. And I guess they took her home. And then her best friend was like, I'll stay with you for the night. She's like, no, don't worry about it. So she gets up and goes back to the countryside to be with her parents. Mm-hmm. And so she gets there. The next day she wakes up. I think her mom was just up or whatever. She spends the night. They're like, what's going on? She tells them what's going on. And
she's a good woman and she doesn't need to do that and blah. And she's explaining, and they showed her like doing this kind of like almost like a montage, like her exercising, talking to people at work. And then she comes home, her mom read the letter that her friend gave her, like all the nasty things.
So back when at the church, when she was talking to her best friend, the best friend is like, here, I've been wanting to give you something. And it's basically a list of all the things that he's done to her since they've been together. Mother comes across the letter. Yeah. And she finds her in the living room just crying. And she's like, well, what did we do wrong, or what to where you ended up, in this situation? And there was a lot of criticism about that scene because it centered the mom in a situation where it had, like, you may feel bad as a parent, obviously, because your kid is going through something, but it's nobody's fault. Yeah. In that instance, it's the abuser's fault. It's that person's fault. Yeah. So to make it the parents' fault or to the kids' fault, as if someone did something wrong, is like, it's a very like old school way of thinking. Conversation, and the dad comes down, and they end up putting in this tape.
This mysterious tape that shows everything in her life on one tape. And
the last 20 years.
All the way to marriage.
And what they were trying to show her before she met him and before she got married to him, she was young, she was happy, she was energetic, she had, a lot of hope, she was strong.
She was in track and all that stuff.
Right, and then when they ended up getting together and the videos subsequent to them get married and all that, you can see that she was depressed. She wasn't as is jovial the right word, but she wasn't as happy, and there was a clear difference in her demeanor from pre-Dallas to post-Dallas. Pouring love into her, so to speak. And so the next day, Dad asks her to go to the feed store with him. Guess who's there?
You get to see the sleeveless wonder himself.
Exactly, Mr. Sleeveless. And it's obvious that the dad kind of, set it up that way because he wants, they've always liked Benji apparently, and they want them to pursue something. But at the same time,
he's not there yet.
Right, she ain't even gotten divorced yet. It's been dropped, that's just been dropped in her lap, so to speak.
Yeah, which I thought was very weird because it's like, okay, I get it, right? I get him wanting his daughter to move on and meet an actual nice guy, but at the same time, you're a pastor and you should know that she's still technically married, but you have to be ready, and you should never push someone or force yourself to be with somebody that you don't want to be with. The part was funny when Benji was like, yeah, your dad called me and told me, he was like, snitch in the background. It was really funny.
Fast forward, she's just finding herself, so to speak. She was there for a week. One of the last days she's there, she runs into Benji at the fair. They end up getting some time away with each other in the back of his pickup truck. They're just talking and listening to music. And
she's just looking at him. And I don't know what it is about Megan Good. Megan Good has this 1,000-yard stare all the time. He's like, I just want you to make love to me. And he froze up and you could tell in his head he was conflicted. I really would love to, but he was telling one, you drunk, two, you on a rebound. Well, he says that, he explains that later, but he's like, no, I'm not gonna do that and shit. She's looking at him like, I must not be second. Like, yeah, girl, you're like, girl, every fiber of my being right now want to go up there and clap them cheeks. This just ain't the spot to do it. And that's when he explained to her, drunk and you're on a rebound, I don't want it to seem like I'm taking advantage of you. If you want to be with me, it should be more clear-headed, which is funny because when they actually do screw, she was high on weed gummies. And then the next morning or whatever, you're like, hey, baby, how you doing? She's like, yeah, hey, how you doing? Yeah, this can't ever happen again. I'll see you later. He's like, what?
Damn, son.
She came back to work. She was doing her thing. And then Dallas is over there sitting outside. This dude don't never look happy. I swear, the only time he look happy when he about to beat somebody up or something. Like he just evil incarnate.
Dallas gets a picture of Ava with Benji at the fair. Send him a picture. He gets his picture. He storms into the job and basically tells her she need to be at the divorce signing the next day. Yeah. And she better not be late.
And then she wasn't answering his calls too. That's why that was his excuse for coming there. Yeah.
Well, and the brother's basically put in his head that she probably had been cheating with Benji all this time. You better be at this divorce signing. He makes this whole scene. They finally get him out of there. The next day, she goes. They sign the papers. She didn't want no lawyer. She didn't give a shit about none of that. She said, give me them papers. She signed it.
When he was leaving the thing, I don't know who the hell he was talking about, but he was talking about he gonna slap somebody's nose off. That shit was funny.
Afterwards, the friend
does a surprise party, yeah.
Right. She gives her edible and is like, hey, come inside real quick. And so she goes inside. It's a divorce party. And then Benji shows up to this divorce party.
He had sleeves on this time.
They're having a good time dancing. And guess who else shows up?
Just sitting outside.
Signed the divorce papers.
I love how he's always lurking in his pickup truck.
This man must not have no type of job. He said he was going to work. He's there waiting. Of course, he's getting upset. They end up talking him, to
the punk friend.
He was always pressing his friend somehow. And man, this guy never stood up to him. But at the same time, their family apparently were degenerates, so maybe he was just afraid. Who knows?
It could be that too. Alice wasn't attacking this man's wife all the time. I can understand it. That's my friend.
He was always going for his wife.
Yeah, that's the problem. So we go back to the house. And she was telling Benji, what, you could sleep there or something? Benji's like, I don't want to sleep. I ain't sleeping in no guest room. I'm sleeping here. I'm sleeping in your room.
Yeah,
she was
Benji wasn't about to fumble this bag at all.
Right? So then she looked at him and all of a sudden, you freak me, baby. Oh, yeah. And I was like, what? Let me lick you up and down.
Tyler Perry really been like getting into his freak zone when he makes these movies, yo. She wakes up.
Gets ready for work, walks downstairs, happy, and lo and behold, this nigga done teleported in the house. He eating Cinnamon Toast Crunch.
Eating cereal at the fucking island. And it's like, what are you doing here? And so
he just was there the whole time. Like he just belonged there. Like he just eat cereal like it ain't nothing.
Right. And I mean, him and his crazy brain, he's like, I'm gonna give you another shot. I'm gonna go get my stuff and we're gonna try this again. Like, so we just signed divorce papers.
Right?
Like, what are you? And
she's like, nah, that's not how it works. I'm done with you. Get out.
I'm gonna give you another shot. I'm gonna go upstairs and I'm gonna go take a shower. So he heads upstairs. Now Benji's upstairs, sleeping in the bed, right? So he heads upstairs, sees Benji in the bed, grabs Benji, and a fight ensues.
Yeah. So he pulls Benji out, starts working his ribs a little bit. She's over here like, hey, stop it. And then that's when Benji turned to, toss them. They start tossing each other around a little bit. And then Benji put this man to sleep. And it was the funniest sleeper hole because me and Nova was talking about it. And, you see enough motherfuckers get knocked out. You know what I'm saying? Like, there's just a way they go limp. He holds them in the sleep hole for like 1 second and he just like passes out, but his arm is still up. I'm like, what is going on here? Megan Good summons the strength of 10 Benjis and pulls this nigga out of the room, down the stairs, out the front door. She's getting him halfway. Can you help me?
She pulled her little self, pulled him all the way. And now I get it when you're upset, that adrenaline is rushing through you. You end up finding out you're a lot stronger than what you think you are. But holy shit. So they end up putting him in his car and she's like, and she says bye to Benji and she's like, going to work and shit like that. Alice was sitting outside in the car. And so the friend is like, yo, he's sitting outside in the car again. Like,
oh yeah, because
like,
at this point, I think she put a restraining order on him. Yeah.
Friend gets a call that they had been in a fight. That Dallas and Benji had been in a fight that morning.
Oh yeah, because he's looking all sore and his face was all red and stuff. Yeah.
Right. He's lumped up in the car, just sitting there outside the job. Like, sir, what are you doing? Why are you here? So then Benji teleports back 2 hours away. Come to find out, Benji rolls up to his farm. All his animals is gone. Decide that it's probably that he saw the picture the night before.
Went to Benji's farm, poisoned his animals, party. And then made his trip onto the house in which obviously Benji was up there.
The dad, on the other hand, is pissed off because it's getting too much with Dallas. The Pops goes over to help Ava out and bring her some arsenal because Dallas is doing too much. Dallas pops up at the supermarket at the local Piggly Wiggly, I guess.
2 hours away again.
When the mom does her shopping. So apparently she goes to this place every Tuesday. He pops up and in the supermarket.
Oh, it's so funny too.
I'm a woman of God. Leave me alone. He's just Dallas. Look, he is like a guy from Diary of a Mad Black Woman.
Yeah,
Like, you'll never not be able to see him as that role again. Like, he shows up at the damn Piggly Wiggly and almost assaults.
He did assault her because he grabbed her arm. Well, my favorite part is when he like pulled away from her. She's like, oh, she's like doing this almost like run in place jog. Like she's like trying to run and looking back, which was the funniest part.
So after that, the mom leaves and she don't say nothing to the husband. He's over there with Ava.
Yeah, helping out the baby. Yeah.
So then the Pops comes back home and he's like, yo, why you didn't tell me about,
He's loading up, by the way. He got the Glock. Right. He cocked that. He got the shotty. And he got his cowboy hat. You know when a black man got a gun and a cowboy hat, he ready.
He ends up heading over to Dallas's family's house. First he confronts the mom and he's like, where's Dallas?
Dallas like a true villain, just appears behind it from a tree. You looking for me? Like, what? Yeah. Was you standing there the whole time when I pulled up?
Brandishes like his gun.
Her shotgun,
the shotgun at Dallas. Meanwhile, Dallas's 3 other brothers are behind him. They end up just jumping this old man. Like they shoot him. They leave him for dead. Like he's, if they wouldn't have gotten to him, he might have gone or whatever. So they end up just leaving him there. The mom called her and told her that he was on the way to Dallas' family's house. So she is like picks up with Benji and is like, all right, we're gonna go get him.
Yeah, so they're driving, right? And the funniest part is that when Ava and Benji pull up, miraculously he's in his car somehow. I don't know, did he crawl his way over there?
On the side of the highway. They're over there in the hospital. He's all fucked up and Ava's like, all right, like,
I'm done. Yeah.
It's at that point where she realizes
so she becomes a ninja while she's in the hospital room, like Benji and everybody's talking, and he turned around, all of a sudden she's just ghost. She disappeared.
So she ends up driving back and she calls him. He basically just starts baiting him by telling him he was never no good.
He wasn't good in bed. Benji clapping cheeks superbly.
And so he's getting, upset, obviously. So she ends up heading back to the house. Benji finally realizes she's gone. And he goes to her parents' house. She's not there. He calls her best friend, like, can you go check on her? Because she just left. She has my car. So the best friend is like, all right, we're going to go over there. So she gets her fucking useless husband and they go. He's in the crib, but Dallas walks into the house.
He didn't walk in the house.
He broke the window.
So she's sitting there drinking wine. He's downstairs at the island where he was eating cereal, and then you see him like of course the stairs is out of focus, but you see him walking down the stairs, real slowly, and that shit was hilarious. And then he walks up, he starts saying all this intimidating stuff to her. He pulls out his gun, puts it on the table, and she's just egging him on, just telling how he sucks in bed. And she should have gave Benji he been waiting 17 years to get it, and he's talking all this shit. He's saying like, you about to turn me into like my pops, because like I had to do in my pops to keep from beating my mom. But
that's when he goes to the refrigerator.
Yeah, and just looks in the refrigerator for no odd reason, for no reason. I was like, why is he hungry? I guess violence makes him hungry. You know what I'm saying? So, and then she keeps egging it, and then he like pops her in the mouth.
Yeah, so he just starts hitting her, and she's
tossing her around.
She's still egging him on. He's hitting her again, still egging him on, and then she finally gets up. And
wait, now remember, he tossed her over the island, which conveniently put her right where that gun was. If you know, so if he had tossed her in a different direction, I hope she had another gun somewhere else.
I hope so too, because this seems to be what her plan was. Since she ended up calling, what I'm assuming
the cops,
911, and letting him know like that she had a restraining order put on him. She
was egging him on so he would beat her.
Exactly.
And there would be proof, And she lucky that he didn't knock her ass the fuck out with one of them hits.
I know. He could have really did some damage, and then how would that have gone?
Yeah.
But she pulls it out, and she's like,
"Don't do it.
Don't do it. Take another step.
You gonna shoot me, bitch?"
Right. Shot the fuck out of him, yo.
Yep. And put him in the grave.
The next scene, they show her with the ambulance, and of course there was already documentation that there was a restraining order and stuff like that, and her call and all that. Benji asks her if she's okay, blah blah blah. Fast forward, they're at the hospital, and the father's getting discharged, and the mom's, Dallas's mom, and his two brothers are standing there at the door, and I think one of the other brothers got shot or some shit like that.
So another brother died later, and that's when they saw
shot
him.
or something. And the mom was like, "This ain't over," and she's like, "You gonna learn to stop messing with good people. Let this be the end of it." And that's kind of how they end the movie. Which I'm assuming they're setting up for part 2, because that's why they ended.
She just murders their whole family.
It was a funny movie, in my opinion. I've seen it. I saw it once when it first came out.
Wait, let me say this. So technically, Ava was committing premeditated murder. If you think about
it,
she was egging him on because she knew he would come to the house, and then let him beat her up, call a cop, and put a whole slug in him. You know what I'm saying? Yep. And so she technically, I mean, personally, I'm not saying she should have did it, but personally, like these stalkers, these men that do that, I ain't mad if that ends up happening to you. You sitting there terrorizing this woman, stalking her, treating her.
Statistically, they're more than likely gonna end up unaliving the woman. So,
or like that one black woman who killed her abuser, she ends up in jail. So
I'm not mad at it either. I mean, what are your final thoughts on this movie? Are you excited about the next one?
No. I'm not, but I know it'll be funny. This was probably better than some of the other ones that I had. Megan Good was she was good at her role, right? I can't be mad at her acting. The dude who played Benji was good. He was good too. The best friend was good. The mom and dad. Mom's, I've seen her in a lot of stuff. She's a good actress as well. Dude who played Dallas was bad, but in all the best ways. So it was like a good bad movie. I would give it a 4. A best worst type movie, I would probably give it an 8 because it was pretty entertaining.
A lot of the criticism that I've seen regarding like how Tyler Perry sort of portrays certain characters, he said like it was funny to me, and so it was entertaining because I love bad movies, and sort of like it wasn't a good transition from one state to another, right? I have to agree with you. Like I'm giving it a 4, maybe 4. If it was just a movie that I wanted to clown, then I would say like I'll do like an 8. I have to agree with you. It's probably more like 8. Yeah.
Hopefully you guys enjoyed this. If you did, please hit the like button, sub, and leave a comment. Tell us what you think. Did you like it? Did you not like it? I mean, whatever your opinion is, hey, art is subjective. You may have thought this was the best movie ever and disagree with us, and we're totally
tell us why.
Yeah,
exactly.
We're totally open to have a conversation about these. See you in the next one, and y'all have a good night.
Hi, y'all. Later.